The two unions have since the release of a new secondary school fees guidelines read from the same script by opposing them, claiming they will interfere with the running of schools that have already drawn out their budgetary framework. The guidelines released by Education Cabinet Secretary Prof Jacob Kaimenyi, if implemented, will see students in boarding schools part with 53,000 shillings, special schools 37,210 shillings, and day schools 9,000 shillings annually. But Professor Kaimenyi accuses KNUT and KUPPET of dishonesty, arguing that the two unions were part of a Dr. Kilemi Mwiria task force that came up with the figures.
To look at the best practices amongst our neighbors. So when people turn around and say things will happen, which things? In the first place, they should have not have appended their signature there. The same people, some of them who were with them when we were handing over the report to the president of this country. None of them raised the voice. How come? Now it has become necessary to raise the voice. And you wonder, what is the interest behind it?
According to Kaimenyi, the task force was created after a huge outcry from parents who have all along borne the brunt of paying huge amounts to keep their children in school.
Kilemi Mwiria's task force was set up in response to complaints for the president of this country from 190. They are the ones who are talking about unaffordability of secondary school education, the unrealistic school fees.
And he's quick to warn that his ministry will not renege in implementing the new guidelines, saying disciplinary action awaits all head teachers who will be found to have flouted the directive. But on the other hand, the unions accused Kaimenyi of laying emphasis on the school fees component, while the task force reported a raft of recommendations that would give education a facelift.
Recommendations of the task force must be adhered to in toto. And task forces established cannot conclude its work today and be implemented tomorrow, because there are timelines to be met. So as far as Kenya National Union of Teachers is concerned, the recommendations within the Kilemi Mwiria task force must be adhered to, and there are quite a number. We do not want selective implementation of the recommendations at the expense of other valid, critical recommendations which came as a result of critical observations of real unity costs of education.
The unions want the government to spread out the recommendations on school fees, fearing that schools could run into a management crisis.
Fortunate that Cabinet Secretary of Education he was been a lecturer for a long time in a public university, where he was concerned with the infrastructure of that university. But now